So, starting study guide. First thing I want to tell you, on your 9 weeks test tomorrow, there are 21 questions. They are multiple choice, okay? We have used this vocab on a daily basis, but I will be honest with you, there are not any vocab questions on your 9 weeks test.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So, what we're going to go through right now is work out each problem in each section. If you have a question, stop me. The great thing about your 9 weeks test is we cover so much information that if you don't feel 100% confident about one topic, there's enough of everything to balance out. It's going to be like a couple of questions of everything. So I don't want you stressing, that you're taking a test on 9 weeks of information. The great thing about math is that it all kind of builds on each other. All right, so looking at the first one, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing whole numbers. So 234 plus 84, and you should have 318.
Yeah, boy.
Okay? 693 minus 99. Can I take 9 from 3?
No.
So that 3 becomes a 13, 9 becomes an 8. Can I take 9 from 8? So that becomes an 18, 6 becomes a 5. So 594. Okay? Hey guys, let's hold the comments in between every question, or we're going to be at this a very, very long time. Okay, 872 times 43. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 7 is 21. Carry my 2. 3 times 8 is 24. Plus 2 is 26. What do I put on the second row of multiplication? 0. I have to put my placeholder telling me I am done with the ones place, moved on to the tens. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 7 is 28. Carry the 2. 4 times 8 is 32. Plus 2 would give me 34. I'm running out of room down here, so I'm going to write my answer up here. That would give me 6 in the ones place, a 9, 14, 7, and 3, so 37,496. Be careful, remember, when we are setting up division, the first number is always in the house, okay? So 255 divided by 5, how many times will 5 go into 25? 5 times. I have nothing left over, bring down my 5, 1 time, no remainder. Okay. So, add, subtract, multiply, divide whole numbers. We should feel awesome about that. Now, when we talk about add, subtract, multiply, divide decimals, what's my rule with adding and subtracting decimals? Always line up my decimals. So, 34 and 11 hundredths plus 9 and 8 tenths. What do I add behind that 8? Okay. Got to put my placeholder. So that would be 1, 9, bring my decimal straight down, 13, so 43 and 91 hundredths. Yes?
I thought you added the two numbers behind the decimals to each other.
No, you have to line up your decimals, because this is, my 8 is in my tenths place, and this 1 is in my tenths place. So I have to add tenths with tenths and hundredths with hundredths. Yes.
Do we have to show our work on the 9 weeks test?
Yeah, you'll have space to show your work.
It's at 9.
Yeah, you'll have space to show your work. It is multiple choice, but half of your answer sheet will be your bubbles, and the other half will be your work area to show your work. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Right here, because this 9 had to become an 8 before it could become an 18, and that would mean that 6 will become a 5. So 13 minus 9 would be 4, 18 minus 9 would be 9, and 5 minus 0 would be 5. Did you leave it a 19? Yeah, it's got to become an 8, because I couldn't borrow I had to borrow from here, so that immediately made it change to an 8. And then I had to make it into 18 and borrow from the 6. All right, so again, I have a whole number on this one. Where is my decimal in a whole number? Behind it, okay? So I've got to line this up. Okay, so that would be 200ths. So 64 and 200ths. Okay, do I need my decimals when I'm multiplying?
Yeah.
Not till I get to my answer. So I'm just going to ignore them to begin with, because I don't need them until I get to my answer. I'm going to multiply like normal. 5 times 3 is 15. 6, 10. Put my placeholder. It's 12, 5, 8. When I add these together, 5, 8, 5, 9. How many decimal places do I need? 1, 2, 3. So move it back 1, 2, 3 places, and it'll be 9 and 585 thousandths. Okay, division. 4 and 55 hundredths. First number's in the house, divided by 5 hundredths. How many times do I have to move my decimal here? 2 times. So I move it 2 times to my dividend. Bring it straight up. How many times will 5 go into 45? 9 times. Have nothing left over. Bring my 5 down. 5 goes into 5. 1 time. No remainder. Any questions about those? Good? That one really turned into 455 divided by 5, too. Okay, next section. We were trying to make this harder yesterday than it was. We're just simplifying here. So remember we talked about greatest common factor? You're going to look for your greatest common factor and divide both numbers. So what is the largest number that will go into 22 and 24? 2. Very good. So that would be 22 divided by 2 is 11. 24 divided by 2 is 12. What's the largest number that will go into 50 and 150? 50. Excellent. Let me show you a trick real quick, too. If I look at this and I have 50 over 100, can I cancel out my zeros? I sure can, because that's basically like I've divided both of them by 10. So that really leaves me with 5 over 15, which would be 1/3. Even if I did 50 as my greatest common factor, 50 goes into 50 1 time, and 50 goes into 150 3 times. Okay, what's my largest number that will go into 27 and 36? 9. Very good. So 9 goes into 27 3 times. 9 goes into 36 4 times. Okay. 24/7. Yeah. 24 over 7. That is an improper fraction. I can look at this like I am dividing. 7 will go into 24 3 whole times. 3 left over. So I'll write that as a mixed number as 3 and 3/7. Are we good? Make sure, guys, even on your answers, even if it's like operations with fractions, you do need to simplify, okay? All right, convert decimals to fractions. This is where you write what you say, okay? So if you start with a decimal, you're changing it to a fraction. This is 4/10, which is the same as 2/5. Very good. This one, almost exactly the same, except we have a whole number. So 1 and 4/10, which is 1 and 2/5. I know. Okay. 4 and 45 what? Hundredths. What number can go into 45? Well, I know exactly what you're saying, but the number you're thinking of is actually 5. But 5 will go into 45 9 times and 20 into 100. Just divide 100 divided by 20. Because you're so used to seeing 100 divided by 4. But it's divided by 5, so that would give you 20. Okay. 8 what? 9 hundredths. What's the greatest, or what's the largest number that will go into 8 and 100? 4. 5 can't go into 8. But 4. So 4 goes into 8 2 times. 4 goes into 100. 25. Anytime I think of 100 and 4 and 25, I think money. Yep. All right. Now, the harder work, decimal or fractions to decimals, we're going to divide. Okay? Anybody remember our trick with 1/9?
Oh.
What is it as a decimal?
9.
Y'all don't remember our 9s trick?
9.
Oh, it's every time 11.
Yeah, 11 what?
1100.
Repeating. Remember 2/9 would be 0.22 repeating. 3/9 is 0.33 repeating.
I have to work that out. I remember you showed us.
Yeah, remember we flipped our paper over, wrote it on the back. I showed you 1/9 equals 1100ths repeating, 2200ths repeating. Yeah. Okay, so right here, how's it what? Because 9 will go into 10 one time, and you're always going to have 1 left over. So it's going to continue going 1 time with 1 left over, 1 time with 1 left over. Yes, what do I do with the whole number? What do I do?
So, the 5, you have to make it a 100.
Do I have to make it 100?
Or 10, I guess.
I could make this 5 a 10.
And so then you just multiply the 3 by 2, and then
Okay.
you make that 6/10.
I could do that. So 1.6. I could have also put my whole number up here and then did 3 divided by 5, which would give you 6. Yes, so 1 6/10. Which, as Fletcher was just saying, if I change this denominator to a 10, I'm talking about tenths. So 5 times 2 would give me 10, so 3 times 2 is 6. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't even have to work it out. You can just make sure your denominator becomes a 10. Okay, so 5/8, this is 5 divided by 8. Decimal and zeros. How many times will 8 go into 50? 6 times? 48. That gives us 2 left over. Bring my 2 down, or 0 down. 6 goes into 20 3 times. Wait, no, I'm so sorry. What did I say? I got ahead of myself. 2 times. That's 18. 2 left over. Wait. Y'all, I can't even think right now. 16. 4 left over. Add a 0. Bring a 0 down. That would be 5 and nothing left over. So, since we can't see that, and it looks awful, 625 thousandths. And the last one, we have a whole number. I'm going to write it over here so we can actually see it. 2 and 5/6. We leave our whole number. And then we set up 5 divided by 6. Remember, numerator is always in the house. How many times will 6 go into 50? 8 times. That gives me 48. Have 2 left over. 6 goes into 20. 3 times. Have 18 left over. 2 left over. Yep, now it's repeating. I think my brain was already going to that problem. Okay, so 2 and 833 thousandths repeating. Yes. Yeah, you've got to remember, sorry, when you set these up, it's always numerator divided by denominator. Remember, denominator, he's standing at the door. Yes.
Can you have had 2.83?
Yes, absolutely. That 3 is repeating. You can put 1, you can put 2, you can put 75. I don't know that you'd want to, but you could. Yeah.
So, me and my sister, we sort of taught like a 4-year-old.
You can tell me, no, I can't. You can tell me later. Alright, looking up here at the top. Add, subtract fractions with unlike and unlike denominators. Like, I think we're good on. Let's talk about unlike. So 2 and 1/3 plus 5 and 1/4. What's my new denominator? 12. Very good. Okay. 4 times what gives me 12? 3. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 4 gives me 12, so 4 times 1 is 4. Add those together, that would give you 7 and 7/12. And that cannot be simplified. 7 is a prime number, and the only factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Yep. All right, here we go. 7 over 16 minus 2 over 8. What's my new denominator? 16. Oh my goodness. And that's where 16 is your least common multiple. So that would be the best denominator to use, because if you multiply them together, you're going to get 128. And that's going to be really large. So this one stays the same. 8 times 2 gives me 16, so 2 times 2 is 4. And then I subtract, and we cannot simplify. Okay, 4 sevenths plus 9 over 11. What's my new denominator? 77. Very good. Okay, so 11 times 7 gives me 77. So 9 times 7 is 63. 7 times 11, so that would be 44. This would give us 107 over 77, which as a mixed number would be 130 over 77. And the reason I know that, guys, listen, the reason I know that is 77 will go into 107 one whole time with 30 left over out of 77. Okay, let's look at the last one. 9 and 5/6 minus 6 and 1/3. What's my new denominator? 6. Very good. 3 times 2 gives me 6, so that becomes 2. 6 stays the same. Now I can subtract, and I can simplify this to 3 and 1/2. Because 3 over 6 is the same as 1/2. All right, are there any questions on those? Even if that's not your favorite thing to do, there's only a couple on your test. Again, there's a couple of everything.
I don't like
It's okay.
I got,
How did I get all of these?
Got a question. The second one, what did you get?
1 and 8.
You added.
Forgot what I got.
Did you get 11/16? You did, or did you do 128 as your denominator?
First I got 24 and 16, then I got 1 and 8.
You added. Yeah, just make sure you're subtracting. Okay, looking at greatest common factor. Now, I'll be honest, this is not something that going forward I'm going to require to see work on. We did the day that I made you do it. But going forward, I want you to start recognizing and seeing what numbers that these numbers share, or what factors these numbers share in common. Guys, quit clicking. So, 12, 36, and 42. What is my greatest common factor?
3.
Is there a bigger one?
Maybe.
Maybe we do need to work this one out.
6, 12.
Let's look at this. 1 times 12.
Oh, yeah.
2 times 6. 3 times 4. Okay? 1 times 36. 2 times 18. 3 times 12. 4 times 9. 6 times 6. 1 times 42. 2 times 21. 3 times 14. 6 times 7. Guys, what's my largest?
6.
6 is your greatest common factor.
I don't go far enough.
Okay?
126.
Factors are fewer. Multiples are more. Okay? Factors are fewer. Because 6 is the largest number that all three of them have as a factor. Okay, what about 25, 50, and 200?
25.
25. Can 25 go into all three? Yes. Guys, look at this. Greatest common factor. You need to remember the word fewer. Factors are fewer. It's not going to be larger than your largest number. And it won't be any larger than your smallest number. Okay? What's my greatest common factor of 62 and 42? 2.
I did get one right. One I got.
Okay, shh, hang on, we're almost done. Hold your conversation. Okay, least common multiple. Multiples mean many or more. Multiples are going to be larger. Yes, the first one is 35.
These are easy.
Second one is 36.
65, 36.
Hey, let's not rush. 65, and then the last one is 36. Just because you feel confident about it doesn't mean somebody else does, so I don't want to rush through it. Yes.
So you're saying we don't have to work it out?
Well, you're not just multiplying, because look at this one. If I had multiplied that, I would have gotten 108. That's not my least common multiple. So you need to think about what's the smallest number they all share. Okay? So, like if I were listing these, 12, 24, 36, 48.
21 minutes.
Okay? Hey, ladies and gentlemen, let's stop. I'm trying to help you right here. Yes? Question? Okay. 18, 27, 36. Look, the smallest number they both share. So it's not going to be what you get when you multiply them together. Okay, place value. What place is the 2 in? 1's place. What about the 6? Hundredths. Now, let me ask you this question. If you were a math teacher and you were making a multiple choice test, and you had this problem, would one of your answer choices, do you think it'd be a good idea to put hundreds?
Yeah.
Pay attention. Make sure you're checking. Make sure you're looking. There's a difference between, look, hundreds and hundredths. That's okay. Place value, of course, this will be 2. This would be 0.06. And this would be 400. All right, are there any other questions? And just so you all can hear it, what are we going to say? Always show your worth.